All right. Welcome, everybody. We're coming right up to 5:30. And we'll kick stuff off so we don't keep people waiting longer than they need to. So I see some familiar names. I don't see any faces, but see some familiar names in the attendees today, which is excellent. Excellent to see people joining multiple times and people that we're currently working with. Very exciting. But for those that don't know, my name is Chris Lee, and I'm head of design and development at Backyard ADUs. And we are a company in New England focused on helping people build small homes in backyards and trying to make really good use of space. And do it as affordably as possible. And joining me today is Tim O'Reilly, who is our small home advisor covering a large chunk of Massachusetts, and he's based out of Western Mass, in the Pioneer Valley. And he will be driving this webinar tonight, which is really exciting. I'm excited to not be doing it. And I'm also excited for him to do it because he's going to do a better job than I have in the past. So a lot of pressure, Tim. Oh, we already forgot to not take.
I'm unmuted. Here we go. Awesome. Thanks for that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh. So tonight we're going to be, as I'm sure many are aware, we are going to be taking a look at our most recently finished backyard home. It is another one that we are finishing up in the jurisdiction of Northampton, Massachusetts, which covers whose zoning rules cover Northampton, Florence, and Leeds. And this one in particular was in Leeds, which is I think you classified as one of the more rural jurisdictions of Northampton. It's a really neat home. It was actually a custom design that was initially done by a local design build firm. And when the design build firm was having trouble with getting it done in the homeowner's budget, the homeowner came to us and we started working with them and figured out how to get it done. And it's a really, really neat home. It was built for the homeowner's mother, so a grandmother coming in to live closer to her grandkids. And it was built with the possibility that she will be in a wheelchair in mind. She's not handicapped at the moment, but does have the potential to need to be in a wheelchair at periods, like a multi-week period. So it's got some really neat features in that Tim will outline that we'd really like to do again. And some of them were the grandmother's unique idea that are really innovative. And some of them were from Oxbow Design Build, who did the initial floor plan for this. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Tim O'Reilly. And he's going to kick it off by walking everyone through the Matterport tour to show some of the awesome design things that Libby chose and this really, really innovative floor plan.
Great. Thank you, Chris. I am so excited to share this with all of you. I know I can't see you, but I work closely on this project. And so it is gorgeous. Let's take a look. Chris, will you just allow me to share my screen? Well, for those of you who haven't seen a Matterport, it's a fancy camera that takes high definition 3D photos. So we'll be able to essentially walk through the home and look at all of the home's neat features in detail. So let's take a look. All right, so we're going to dive right in here into the central space, the kitchen. But like any home, let's start at the entryway here. So in thinking about designing in our climate here in New England, finding storage for all those winter clothes is very, very important. So here's the front door right here. And as you walk in, there's a great closet. Unfortunately, I couldn't film it with the closet door open, but there's also ample space to have a bench. You could put a built-in here to add hooks along the wall so that when you come in, when the weather's bad, you have a space to kick off your shoes, hang your coat, and then head on in to the gorgeous house. You'll notice here as we move into the house, this is our first of many pocket doors. So we love pocket doors as a way to save space and make the home feel bigger. So as we walk into the kitchen here, you'll notice it's very open. We get this view all the way through to the back of the home, to that beautiful bay window. And it really helps our eye make the space feel very, very big.
Hey, Tim, we totally forgot to let everyone know how they can ask questions.
That's very important.
So everybody, as you're watching this, Tim's going to kind of go through and do a high level review of the layout and the design. If you want to use the chat feature in Zoom, you can put any questions that you have in here. It's a Q&A. If you bring up the Zoom bar on the bottom, you click Q&A. We're keeping an eye on that, and we will answer any and all questions that you ask. So if you put it in there, if there's we'll try to get all the way through this, but if there's a very pertinent question, we may stop, but we're going to try to save them until the end of this. And then before we keep going, Tim, I think if you click in the bottom right of the Matterport, there's a full screen thing. Awesome. Yeah, that will make it a little bit easier for everyone to see. Beautiful. Great. Take it away.
All right. So we're here in the central kitchen space here, which is just absolutely stunning. And like Chris mentioned earlier, this is one where the homeowner had some very great design touches that she added, including this beautiful pebble backsplash, as well as these live edge open shelves. And it really just pulls the whole house together. The turquoise and the backsplash matches the turquoise that you'll see throughout the home, along with the turquoise countertops. And she even found a beautifully matching microwave. You'll notice in this home, again, trying to make it feel open, that all the normal appliances are here. She has a very large fridge, her oven. There's space here for a dishwasher. She hadn't decided if she wanted that or not, but it's there and plumbed and ready to go. You'll notice here this unique feature, again, thinking about the potential for being in a wheelchair, is that this sink allows you to pull up in a wheelchair, access the sink. It's got a great pull down head so you can spray your dishes and do everything that you need to do. I'll come on through here. Sticking with this idea of space and light, in all of our designs, we not only incorporate lighting from above, that's going to help keep that kitchen light and bright, but natural lighting as well. And so while you're there doing your dishes, you have a view, but also, as you'll see later, when you're in other parts of the home, there's tons of natural light coming in. So I'm going to back into the corner here, and we'll turn around and take in this fabulous view. We had a very large pantry here for the client, so she'll be able to store all her food needs. We have now doors over there. Those were on back order that have since been installed. But like a lot of clients come to us with ideas, they want custom doors or curtains. We get creative. Let's head, before we dive into the living room, we'll head into the bathroom here. So accessibility was very important when thinking about this bathroom. So you'll notice it's very, very spacious. And again, that's to be able to accommodate a wheelchair. We put in all the required grab bars and other accessible features so that if the day comes when she's in a wheelchair, the house is fully equipped and ready.
And this is to me say this is a full ADA accessible bathroom. It's got a full 5-foot turn radius in there for a wheelchair. And this was one of the things that was necessary for the receipt of the home modification loan program in doing in the mobility piece. Not always required when going through that program, but this was one of the things that was unique about this house, specifically to get financing with that program for the family.
Absolutely. Thanks for touching on that. And a unique feature of this bathroom as well is there is a second door, and this door opens up into the kind of utility closet where the washer and dryer are, so that she has easy access to any cleaning supplies, or she'll be able to pass her laundry through should she be in a wheelchair. So now let's head into the crown jewel space here. Is this incredibly large open concept dining room, living room. So the idea here was to create a space that was incredibly open. So if the homeowner was wheelchair bound or bed bound, that she'd be able to enjoy the entire living space. So we kept this open concept flowing from kitchen into dining room, into living room, and into the bedroom. So this corner over here is where the client has her bed. And you'll notice there are windows pretty much in 180 degrees, looking all the way through the house. So the sun sets over here in the east and sets behind us in the west, and all throughout the day, passive light is coming in, the lighting changes. It's beautiful to watch how the tint on the paint changes, and it's really, really a gorgeous space. This bay window was another key design request from our client. She wanted a space that could serve as a reading nook. Her cat loves it. The cat is always up there lounging in the sun. So it's a really, really nice feature. And again, it helps make the space feel bigger by bumping it out and kind of feeling like you're pulling nature inside. It's a great space in other homes we find. If people have a large plant collection, that's where it's going to go. And you're really going to have that warm, homey feel with that bay window. Here is our back door, and we'll hop outside in a little bit, and I'll show you the floor plan of how that integrates into the home. But above it, it's important to note that here is the head to the mini split unit, and that we heat and cool all our units with these mini splits. They're not only energy efficient, they're quiet. And as our client who moved here from abroad found out, we have very, very humid weather in the summer here in Western Mass. And this thing is also a dehumidifier. And it just made this home so cool and comfortable as the client sweated through what was a very wet and humid summer. So there's not a lot to see in the bedroom, except you can really see the rest of the house. It's a gorgeous space. And what was also very key here was her closet, and ensuring that she has all the storage she needs for her outfits. So we have a full walk-in closet here. The hatch you see on the bottom goes down into the crawl space, but we have 2 levels of hanging clothes storage, as well as plenty of shelf space and shoe space down below. Every time I go over to the client or other people come see the home, it's one of the key things he likes to show off is, yeah, you got to see my closet. All the clothes are hanging. It's super organized. You're not digging through drawers for everything. It's all in front of you, which he really loves. Another unique design feature here is this cutout. And this also passes through into the laundry room so that the client, while she's in her walk-in closet, can pass laundry or other items through. And again, this was a specific requirement based on her needs.
And it was her idea too. She came up with it, and when she first said it, I'll be honest, I thought it was a little bit weird. But then after we figured out how to do it, it was I wish we'd done one in my wife and I's house. It's a very, very cool. It's like it's like a laundry chute from the second floor to the basement, but it's a laundry chute just through a wall, and it might only save what, Tim, is it 15 feet of walking, but makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and especially when you think about trying to stay organized and tidy in such a small home, making it convenient to stay organized saves from a lot of clutter. I want to point out one more thing as we come back around is this window over here. So when we do our designs, obviously we're thinking about light here, but we're also thinking about space. So we knew there was either over here going to be the television like you see it, or the bed was going to be against the wall and the TV against the other wall. And we wanted to make sure that we still had plenty of light and that the client had views. So we did an elevated window here where a bed could fit underneath. We often do this as well with couches. So we'll raise the height of windows up so that your couch fits snugly right under that window. You don't have that weird space where the couch backs up to the window and there's kind of a little gully there. So again, I'll just give you a tour here. Oh, the cat made it. So from this angle, you really get a sense of how open and airy and spacious this place feels.
And one of the, I'll jump in just to say, as Tim's kind of getting to the end of the virtual tour, haven't seen too many questions come in, but if you've got any specific questions about this space, or if you want Tim to go back and highlight anything, now would definitely be the time to start putting those questions in. And I know there's got to be some. And one thing I did want to add specifically, with that view that you just showed, Tim, from the bed, the primary reason why there's no wall here was a specific thing from the person who's living here now. If she was ever bedbound, she wanted to be able to see her entire house from the bed, which is exactly what not having a wall there did. So it's another really ingenious design thing from the homeowner. And one of the philosophies that we have in going through the motions of planning out these small spaces is the person that's going to live there really knows better than anyone else. There's building code, there's architectural concerns, but at the end of the day, the person that's going to be sitting on the couch or in the kitchen knows what they want. And with these virtual tools and these 3D modeling things, it gives people the ability to really understand what they're asking for and to know if it's what they want, which is part of why this home came together so well. And the final thing I'll throw in there too about this design, this has become part of our square design path. And it's our smaller square. That's a square 650 foot square. And it can be a traditional 1 bedroom by simply putting a wall in to block off the kitchen and living room.
And let me just show what that would look like. We would still have this large kind of living room into dining room into kitchen space. And then along the left side here, there would be a wall and a hallway into the bedroom, into the bathroom. So you'd still get this sense, light moving through the entire home, windows on multiple sides. And also it's a great time to point out the recessed lights in the ceiling. We really like to use these recessed lights. We can put them on dimmers and set up different zones so you can kind of illuminate certain spaces in the house, which also kind of makes it feel like you have these separate spaces.
Tim, we do have a few questions. One from Tom, and I think Tom wants to see those pass-throughs again.
Right.
If you wanted to go back through and just kind of
absolutely
highlight how those work.
Let me actually, I think here, if I go here, boom, it opens up.
Oh, there we go.
So here's the shot. So this is the utility closet. We have our stackable washer and dryer, which is just a great way to save space. And you'll see here, I don't think I can maneuver anymore, but here's the pass through into the walk-in closet. So laundry could come through here. And then here is that door that slides open into the bathroom as well. So you can access all your cleaning supplies and laundry, etc.
And I think, Tim, it might be equipped now with a shelves and countertop on wheels that would slide in on the right there to help with organization, and then also provide a place to fold and actually put a laundry basket in to pass directly through the 2 spaces.
Absolutely. And it also, I'm noticing here the hatch up to the attic. So upstairs, there is no usable space, but that is where we blow in insulation and make our homes very well insulated.
Another question, Tim, a question from Simone. How many square feet is this?
Yeah, this home is 660 square feet. So our, like Chris mentioned earlier, the traditional square is 650, but we added that mudroom on the front to allow for that entryway and closet space. So this one is 660 total. I believe I'm going to head out. I think we have a shot outside. Let's see here. I can go outside and turn around. We see from the back that bay window, which really helps to bring light in. And a unique design feature, we'll look at this when we look at the site plan, is this entry ramp. So if our client was ever in a wheelchair, she has a ramp to make her home fully accessible. And also she finds that it is the way into the house. The ramp is such a great way to enter the home that she primarily uses it, even though it enters into the back. Chris, do we have any more questions, or should I head on to the floor plan?
We do. So we just had a question from Lisa, and she was asking about options for a full basement.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunately I couldn't bring the Matterport down into the crawl space. But so this house has a 4-foot crawl space down there. Me being 6'2", it's me hunched over. But we're absolutely able to do a full basement. It's all the same equipment. It just takes a little bit more planning and some more concrete. But we do full basements as well. The consideration when doing a full basement is where you're going to put the staircase, because that has to all be code compliant. So we do get creative in our design phase to make sure that, with that full basement space, that you're going to be able to access it with a staircase. For some of our clients as well, they want to kind of do a DIY option with that full basement. So they know, hey, I'm going to have this unfinished basement, but maybe in the future I want to add a bedroom and a bathroom down there, or I want a utility sink. In our planning phase and in our construction execution, we'd be able to stub in, all the plumbing and electrical that you would need down there if, say, you wanted to finish that basement in the future.
All right. So another question from another one from Tom, and this one's probably got a really long-winded. Could be we could talk about this one on a whole nother thing, but so he wants to know what kind of neat cabinet features can you do in these small/tiny homes, and then specifically how do we handle the corner cabinet? So I would say you can talk corner cabinets and then give like one really neat cabinet idea for a small home, and then I'll throw one in too. We'll see who's got the better cabinet idea.
Okay. Well, yeah, this is very unique in terms of what we've done before with the open live edge shelves. We primarily do cabinets. There's a couple different cabinet manufacturers who are our suppliers, and it's like the largest catalog I've ever seen. So there are so many different options. When I bring samples to clients, it's maybe a 60-pound box because there's all different front types and stain types and paint types. So am I on the right track here? In terms of quarter cabinets, on the bottom, we do Lazy Susans. Up top, we also just do large, deep storage. We try to keep in mind working around our appliances and what's actually going to be accessible. So for example, when we're installing this or when we do other cabinets, we keep those shelf heights in mind. Like, what are you actually going to use? What's going to be functional? For a project we're doing up in Greenfield, they've actually requested no cabinet fronts, which is very unique. They want really practical drawers, and they realize we're aging in place. It's not practical for us to be hunched over looking at things. I want to be able to pull out a drawer, see everything that's in there, and slide it right back in.
Yeah. So I guess I'd add for cabinetry, as you get smaller, there's more and more need to get really, really creative with storage. And there's also a point in which you get too creative with storage and it becomes too hard to use. And then all of this stuff that you're going to put in the creative storage mechanism ends up on the counter or the floor. So there's this interesting point where it's got to be traditional enough that you know how to open the drawer, and unique enough that it's got good organization. So like the Lazy Susan is a classic way to not waste corner space. And it's amazing to me that kitchens get designed with a corner void. And even in a big home, I'm not sure why a Lazy Susan wouldn't go in. It's an expensive kitchen cabinet. I mean, a Lazy Susan can be a $400 to $600 budget item, but it's going to store most of your pots and pans, your mixing bowls, and you might even be able to sneak in a KitchenAid mixer. I mean, they're huge. But in terms of the cabinetry and trying to really customize it, the sky's the limit. There's so many neat ideas out there, from hiding stuff in stairs to having cabinets. We had one client who had she had this really neat design where the Lazy Susan, instead of being a Lazy Susan, it was like this accordion set of shelves that pulled out and extended 3 or 4 feet into the kitchen. And it was kind of like this weird spiral arrangement, but I think it was like a $1,200 cabinet or something like that. And then we've seen appliance garages, which I think are kind of funny. Appliance garages. Appliances, I guess, can be ugly, but at least I kind of like Libby's idea. Just get a really cool turquoise microwave to match the turquoise countertop. So with that, let's move on. We got another question coming in, Tim. Can you talk about, is this house net zero ready or zero energy ready?
Yeah, absolutely. I sort of started to hint at it when I was thinking of looking at the attic there. All our homes, and we'll look at some photos later while the home was being built, all our homes come net zero ready. They come plumbed ready for solar. And in our design process, we work with our energy rater that if the client's goal is to make it net zero, that we'll get there. The big things that we think about is how are we heating the hot water? And then how are we conditioning our space? Typically, we're sticking with the mini splits here for heating and cooling, but we can get creative in terms of finding not only appliances, hot water heaters to make sure that we're going to meet the energy goals that we need. And then adding solar power will get us there. We do find that, even homes that choose not to be net zero, that the actual bills are incredibly low. Chris can speak to this more because he actually lives in one of these homes and pays those bills. But for example, this home, 660 square feet, it just has this one mini split head here. It's incredibly quiet and it's incredibly efficient.
Yeah, good. And I guess to add clarity to net zero ready, so we don't leave anybody behind, net zero ready can also be referred to as zero energy ready. Basically, it means the home is constructed in such a way that if you add solar panels on it or adjacent to it, it can be readily made net zero. So we build all of our homes, and it's really non-negotiable to that standard from an insulation standpoint. We can horse trade on finishes and size to try to get to a budget, but we do believe that it's got to be net zero ready. So we've gone through the motions of experimenting with different wall insulation strategies, different ceiling insulation strategies, air tightness, specifically as it relates to small homes, which are a completely different animal than larger homes. And what we've done is the system we put in place, we think is the most cost-effective way to get a small home to net zero. And what it is a R21 fiberglass bat in the wall cavity. And then the entire house is wrapped with 1.5 inches of foil face polyiso, which gets the walls to just over R30. And then we're blowing in R60 of loose blown cellulose into the ceiling area. And then down below, we're doing a fully insulated concrete form, which means we've got an R20 foundation. And then we're using closed cell spray foam on all the blocks and runners to create a really good air seal between where the house connects to the foundation, and also to make sure we got the R value we need. So all of the homes, if you want to make them net zero, can be with solar. assuming that there's enough sun. Tim did kind of allude to this. Interestingly, in a small home, the hardest part about making it more energy efficient is actually finding really efficient appliances and being careful with turning the lights on. In these homes, the heating and cooling load only accounts for about a third of the overall energy bill. The rest is due to having the refrigerator plugged in, running the clothes dryer, having a hot water heater. And from the research we've done, unfortunately, technology seems to be a little bit behind on those things and kind of hit a peak from a cost standpoint. But we're constantly looking for ways to put pressure on cheaper hot water heaters that are more efficient. But so I guess we don't need to belabor that anymore. Another question from Maria Tim. Can you add a screen porch?
Absolutely. I feel like this is like, I do this all the time. And especially here in New England, it's can become that 3-season room. And many people like it, it's almost an essential. So in that design phase, we do this all the time. We prepare a screen porch would be built on site. And we work with our contractor and our clients to make sure that it's going to have the light they need, the views they need, and that that transition between indoor and outdoor space is seamless and works well in the home. So the short answer, yes, we do it all the time. We also commonly get patios, and we're really lucky here in Western Mass to have absolutely just gorgeous Goshen stone. So you'll see on our website or in other materials the use of Goshen stone patios as well.
Great. So I'll take this one, Tim, so I can get some talk time too. So no name on this one, but who builds our homes? So great question. So we've come up with a little bit of a different structure for getting a new home built. And the way that we've set this up is to essentially make the process as easy as predictable as possible. So when we go, we as Backyard ADUs take full responsibility for designing the home, permitting the home, and then building the home on budget and on time. When you're working with us, there's one ringable neck for that. It's not chasing a general contractor or an electrician or a home factory if something wasn't what you'd expected. It's saying, hey, Tim, we talked about a pull down faucet in the kitchen. Where's my pull down faucet? And then we make it right. Because as you're building a home, when you move in, there's bound to be little things that need to be adjusted to make sure it's perfect when you're getting settled in. So we take full responsibility. Technically, we are the builder, but the actual people banging nails and constructing the home, it varies depending on where you are. So locally, we partner with local general contractors who oversee the local site work. They're managing the team of carpenters and electricians and plumbers and taking on that piece while we are there doing quality control and making sure we stay on budget, on schedule. And then we also work with a home factory, which is based in Pennsylvania, who builds the structure itself. And they typically, when we're getting home components delivered, they are 90% done. And then we're adding that last 10%. And then any custom features like a screen porch or a really neat portico, or if someone wants like in this case, this crazy pebble backsplash, that's something that we would do locally. So there's a whole team that comes together to build these homes, but there's only one ringable neck, and that's Backyard ADUs. And that's part of what we've seen as the best way to make sure that the construction process is predictable, that there's not budget overages, and that you can feel safe going through the process. So I'm going to throw you another question, Tim. So question from Susan. What kind of floors are these? And then I would kind of elaborate what the choices when it comes to floors are.
Yeah, I wish I could see all you and poll the crowd and see what people think this floor is, because it looks like wood, but it is not. It's a vinyl plank product that has come a long way. When you're in this home and looking at it, it really does look like wood in the way it comes together, in the grain pattern, in the variety of colors. So this is primarily what we go with. This is vinyl plank product, and it does come in a bunch of different colors and patterns. And that's part of our design process with our client, is to make sure that that final vision of the home is what they want it to be, that it matches the walls, that it works with the countertops and the backsplash. But we also we work with a bunch of different products. We have a bunch of clients who don't want the vinyl plank and they want traditional hardwood floors. So we go out, we find them great prices. We make sure that our contractor can install them all, and we do that. So this is vinyl plank, but we work with a bunch of different products depending on our clients' needs.
Good. So here's another one from Char. So he's asking, can we build something that's a bit more old-fashioned, maybe log cabin type aesthetic? I'm just saying the new stuff that's modern or really just too shiny isn't exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah, well, so just like that floor question, we work with our clients to help them do what they want to do. So let me actually head outside and we can take a look at how this house is sided from the outside. So this is just your traditional vinyl siding, but what goes on that outside shell, we can change. We have a client who may go with like galvanized steel siding. Another client who's going to go with like a board and batten pine wooden siding. So depending on the aesthetic and what you want, we go out there and try to make it happen. In terms of going out there, it's making sure the factory it's going to work, that it's still going to be energy efficient. We work with our contractor to make sure that the budget, it's going to come in at the budget. And that everyone's there ready and knows how to install it. In terms of okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say too, Char, the being able to meet some of those neater, because I personally love the cabin aesthetic too, and we'd love to do more actual cabins that are used kind of up in the woods and as getaways. It really depends exactly what features you want to include in. Oftentimes, to give that aesthetic, doing Fox accent walls or doing tongue and groove pine on the walls or ceiling after is something pretty easy to do. But if you're trying to do a true traditional log cabin or a true post and beam house that is both looks like a post and beam and is also structurally a post and beam, but not just having Fox beams running across the ceiling, those two things can get pretty expensive to do. And it's primarily because that is an extremely skilled task for a carpenter to do. And there really aren't a lot of people left that can build a log cabin from the ground up or do a post and beam home from the ground up. It's a really tough thing to do, but there are ways to mimic it. And it's a good thing to do in the design process to see what you can do.
It makes me think about the vaulted ceiling option that's coming as well. Is we're in the engineering phase to get vaulted ceilings, which could be finished in pine potentially and give you more of that vaulted cabin feel.
Okay, so there aren't any more questions right now.
Do you want to take a look at the floor plan? All right, let me go start with some site photos. This may help answer some questions or elicit new ones.
Yeah, it's a good. Let's show the process of putting this in.
Absolutely. So, going back to that foundation question, this is where it all started here. As we poured, we laid out our site. The tree folks came in and removed a couple trees. Our contractor got there, excavated a hole, and then poured footings. So on those footings, we came in and put forms. So in this case, it was a 4-foot frost protected wall. If we were doing a full basement, we'd have that those full concrete forms. It also reminds me this site was very, very tricky. It looked somewhat unassuming. And as we started digging, there was a very high water table, and actually it's on a slope, and up the hill, there's a natural spring. So this is a great example of we were thrown a curveball. We got together with our contractor, we got together with our engineer. We came up with a game plan, presented it to our clients. And so we did have to pivot a little bit with our designs. That's actually why the ramp comes to the back of the house. Our foundation here was supposed to be another 4 feet further underground. But again, we pivoted, we came up with a plan, and then our foundation turned out great. So it got poured, and then I got to hop over here to see some in-process photos. So our house arrives, and then our contractors hop right to work. We like to get these homes done once the modular components arrive in 3 weeks. So it is a breakneck speed of getting everything done, but our contractors come in and make it happen. So let's see what other kind of photos. Here's the house getting painted. You can tell from before there was very little flooring. They put the floors in, they adjust baseboards, they adjust crown molding. They get in there and do a very great professional job of painting and doing all the finishing touches. It's important to note in these small homes, details matter. And so us as a design team and also our contractors as an installing team always have that in the back of our mind that, we need to get the details right. And so that's how we approach our work. Here's great images of the house that has arrived. It's in process of being fully sided. The site crew is out there building that ramp to the back. And our excavator here has just finished doing all the trenching with sewer and electric and getting the house hooked up. And finally, we have some finished photos. So this is the house from the front that you couldn't see in the Matterport. We went with this retaining wall to create a parking space in front and maintain the parking that's up here along the driveway. The client went with more of this garden landscape stairs, and she absolutely loves them. When people come over, she's always having people try out her gravel stairs because it offers a little bit more cushion to her step. And that really helps her in her day-to-day and getting around, is having a soft landing as she goes up and down. And the Matterport, we've seen all these finished images. And here's Libby happy in her new home. Yeah, this is also a great point to highlight our insulation. This is that 1.5-inch foil faced. All our seams are taped, and it creates a really, really tight envelope, which helps us get those good net zero ready energy ratings.
And we just got another question, no name, but how many modules is this home?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me see if there's a photo that shows it. I'll stick with this one. This one's 2. This is 2 boxes. So one box here is slightly longer than the other. I don't know if you can it's hard to tell with this roof line, but that's our mud room. So one box is longer, and then our second box is on the back. And so we call it the marriage wall, where they come together. Here's a marriage wall just a little bit to the side of this rear entry door. And those boxes arrive. Let me see if there's a photo of the box. Here's a box as it arrives. It's from the inside. But those two they come together, and then we, oh, here we go. Here's a photo where the boxes come together. This is that marriage wall. And then we do all that beautiful interior work. Where's a finished photo to pull those boxes together.
I've got just realizing that in the in that folder we don't have some of the really neat set photos, so I'm gonna bring some of those up.
Okay.
To really show how this comes together.
Awesome.
So, photos.
We also have a great video online that shows not this project, but an earlier project of set day and watching these houses and these big boxes get craned into place.
So here we are. You can see two boxes. We've got the kitchen and we've got the bedroom and bathroom. And you can see some of the ship loose panels do come in on the floor. And that's a technique to save some money on shipping in order to just use the space and not send them on a separate truck. And this house was quite something to get this up the driveway. But with the help of Harold's Garage, we were able to make it happen and get this set. You can kind of see us pulling this up the driveway. It was quite something. We actually have a really good video of this happening coming out probably next month. That be a really neat thing to watch. So in terms of the actual setting of this thing, so you can see we basically take it right up off the truck, carry it on over, make sure we don't hit any of the existing structures. That would be a bad thing. And again, going back to one ringable neck, we'd have to fix it. We'd rather not break it in the first place. And then the team just kind of, we've people on each corner and positioning it so it fits perfectly on the foundation. And in doing this, we're shooting, we got to be within a 1/4 inch of precision in getting this right in order to keep the air seal right, and then also make sure that the siding is going to look right. Oh, and there's actually Tim right there.
There I am.
Make sure that lolly column stays straight.
So I'm glad you brought this photo up because it really gets to show us a sense of that 4-foot crawl space. So there's me hunched over. That is essentially how you have to crouch to fit in that space. And it also highlights for us that insulated foundation form. So we saw earlier the forms in place, and now you see the foundation wall is there, but it's insulated both on the inside and the outside. And that gets us to that R20 in the floor or in the foundation.
That's another Tim out in the distance too. They're both Tim.
Yeah, we have a bunch of Tims on the crew, which is great.
All right. Well, I think that does the most exciting set photos. I think we need to update the actual the video of this, our folder. This is the site before we did anything. And this is the excavator that tore it all apart. And
we also coordinate with the clients here, tree work getting done. So in this case, tree work needed to get done in order for the home to be built there. But we also find that, let's say the tree crew is going to come to prepare your home site, that you can piggyback projects on, to get other things removed while they're there. So we don't discriminate when it comes to these projects. If there's other things that clients want to get done, we know that our contractor is going to be there, that their subcontractors are going to be there. We help out.
So Tim, I'll grab this question, and there's one more that I'll pass to you. Then we'll probably wrap it up. Okay. So someone's asking, what is the cost to build this home? So as many know, if anyone's been thinking about building anything in the last year and a half, it's been an absolutely insane year for trying to build houses. And interestingly, our first year and a half cutting our teeth was figuring out how to build in a crazy inflationary construction environment. So we have finally got to a point where we have a handle on what it costs to build houses again. There was like a 6 to 8 month period where it was very difficult to get it right. Costs have come up quite a bit in the last year. We're probably still 15 to 20% over where we were 18 months ago, but luckily we have started seeing things come back down. And that was predicted. Lumber's come back down, but there's still some pressure on materials. And we are also seeing a little bit of pressure on local labor costs as well. And by that, I mean, what does a local electrician need to come over and spend the day at your house to make sure it's wired? Those numbers are going up. But the cost to build this home. So we have gone back through this home in a backyard on a flat building site is going to come in between 170 to 190,000. And there's wiggle room in there depending on what we do as finishes. And then we're also working on DIY components. We've had a lot of demand for people wanting to do their own painting, put their own floors in, even reaching and doing their own siding. And that's been something that people have been doing in order to basically be able to continue to afford to build when prices go up by 15 or 20%. They're looking for ways to be able to continue to get quartz countertops and not have to add unnecessarily to the budget. But we are going to be, we updated our pricing this week, and we will be reposting the price points of all of our design paths. It's probably going to be on Saturday that we put that back on the website. So stay tuned. And pricing information, we try to be extremely transparent with what the costs are, because we do try to put we do put fixed numbers on it when we go through the design process, and we try to get very, very close early on, so there's no surprises as we go, which, as I alluded to, the last year, it's been very difficult to do that, but we do think we're back in a spot where it's predictable. So back to you, Tim, a question from Susan. Is there anything housed in this crawl space, like utilities, like a water heater?
Yep. Yeah, you nailed it, Susan. So the water heater is down there. And that's where our dryer exits the basement. Besides that, it's a space like when this home is being built, the electrician's down there installing a light and a smoke detector and running wires through. The plumber's down there hooking everything up. So in theory, you could store stuff down there. There's plenty of storage space. But yeah, generally, there's not a lot down there except our water heater.
Good. Yeah. And elaborate on that. We don't usually do the full crawl space because it is kind of a weird area. We typically do a frost protected shallow foundation, which is a lot less expensive and does the same thing, keeps the house from falling over. But in this case, with the grade change, we had to do the bigger foundation. Then I guess one more question here. I think, so we will, I'll put a last call out for questions as we approach the hour. And so last call for questions, we'll give it a couple minutes and then we'll wrap up. So Jody, go on, Tim.
I was just going to share the floor plan. We've seen bring the photos, but I just want to show you how it all started here.
So while you're bringing that up, I'll quickly answer Jody's question. So Jody asks, how many homes have we built? So I believe we're up to 9 homes, and we did the bulk of those this year. And then looking into next year, we expect to do 25 to 50 homes. And that's just a response of just how huge the need is for building these small homes and trying to do it as affordably as possible. So we continue, we're still relatively new. It's not a huge number of homes, but But we've got a structural engineer in our team. We've got a general contractor who's been at it for over 10 years, who's also an owner of the business. And with the factories on our side, we've got over 30 or 40 years of experience in the modular industry. So we're moving forward as quickly as we can, just so we don't have to say no to people as people are trying to create multi-generational households and live better. Go on, Tim, and then Karen, yeah. I'll bring your question in after Tim starts going over the floor plan.
Great. So we saw all this live, although there were a few changes, but I just wanted to start here with this marriage wall. We could see this is one rectangle where it meets this other rectangle. That's how we see there's two boxes here that come together. In our original design, her bed was against this wall with the TV here, but in real life, you saw that swapped. So that from bed, she gets to see out all these windows. I forgot to mention as we were going through, the original plan was to have a small wood burning stove in this space. She wanted to bring in that fire element, but she decided to save it for later. So this is a great example, and we do this with a lot of our clients is maybe they want something, but they're going to postpone it down the road. Well, we're going to design and have everything ready in place so that when you're ready to do that, when you want that feature, it's there. So in her case, we did a bunch of research about wood stoves. What are the options out there? What are the space requirements? And we've designed enough space so that if she wanted to, she could have a small wood burning stove there. And we priced it out for her, the installation, everything. So down the road, when she's ready, she'll be able to put that feature in.
Tim, I've got a question that might stump you. Or Karen has a question that I think might stump you. How does being net zero affect homeowners insurance?
That's a great question that I don't have a good answer to.
Good, because I don't either. And that's exactly what we should say. We don't know. Karen, that is the first time we've been asked that question. And we don't know the answer, but we'll email you directly because we do have your email address. And I don't say that creepily, everybody. We're working with Karen right now to help her out building one of these, but we'll shoot you an email. And we will get to the bottom of that. I'm actually going to reach out to my insurance broker and see what he has to say on that. What an interesting question. I think if under or over, my guess is it's going to bring the cost down a little bit. But I don't think it's going to be related to being net zero. I think it's going to be related to having no combustibles and nothing dangerous in it. But we'll get an actual answer to that. All right, Tim, you've got 3 more minutes. What's the number one
3 more minutes
highlight on this floor plan?
I want to highlight flexibility in our design process. So, we took our standard model of our square, we added a mudroom, we took a wall out, we shifted the bathroom around, we created a built-in closet, and designed with this home with all the features in mind that she needed. Typically, again, right, there's a wall here. This is a bedroom. This is plenty of space to have a sizable shower and vanity and toilet. And then, either maybe a second bedroom or an office space along here. So, and again, we're looking at a 3D plan here, but we have the ability through our software to look at 3D images and really get a sense, okay, what are these 3 windows going to feel like? How is it going to be looking through this space? What's the bay windows impact going to be? So in this design phase, we really not only design with this in mind, but walk our clients through and get a sense of what the space is going to be like. So you can now see this floor plan and you saw the Matterport in 3D and tell how close our design software gets us to that final finished product.
All right. Well, excellent. So with that, we're at the top of the hour. Wanted to thank everybody for joining us. We just looked at the home we just finished in Leeds, Massachusetts. And that was Tim O'Reilly, our small home advisor in Western Mass, going over it. And I wanted to say in Maine, I know there were some people in Greater Portland, Maine on the call too. Some of the people on the call actually met our newest advisor in Maine that we're bringing on right now to help us in that area. So we're looking to continue to expand and continue to help homeowners design the perfect space and get it done. If anyone has any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are very happy to go back and forth on email. We're very happy to jump on a phone call, very happy to do a Zoom video call, and really just point you in the right direction. There's a lot of information out there, and we're more than happy to help people navigate it, even if it's super early in the process of deciding whether or not this is the right thing to do. And then when you are ready, one of the new things that we started doing, I think we're probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, is a formal feasibility study. Didn't mean that to be a tongue twister, but a formal feasibility study where we'll actually come out to your property, whether it's in a backyard for an ADU or whether it's a standalone piece of land that you own, and basically let you know what and where can you build in that spot that you'd like to, and what challenges you're going to run into from a construction standpoint, and how that's likely to impact your budget. That way you've got a really concrete piece of information before deciding to spend a lot of money and a lot of time to start putting the pieces together. And we started doing that because we found having that piece of paper really helps someone make decisions, whether it's yes or no. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can get us at info@backyardadus.com. You can get Tim at tim.o'reilly at backyardadus, or you can get me at chris.lee@backyardadus. And then our phone numbers are also directly on the website. So we look forward to hopefully meeting some of you in the near term and continuing to work with some of the people that we're working with that are currently on the call. And with that, everyone, have a wonderful night.